Hello, everybody. I'm back. So today I wanted to talk to you about authority. And I was sick these past couple of days, well, this past week, so I didn't make any videos, but I was watching a lot of YouTube videos that I had pending, and a lot of them were really interesting. I investigated what the conflict between the Sunni and the Shia Islamist was, what that conflict was about. And well, if many of you don't know, Islam is a religion that basically has like these two types of sub religions within it. And I guess it's kind of like Christianity, how it has like Catholics and Protestants and these other types of sub religious categories. And it was really interesting because I was like, what? Why are they fighting? Because I would always assume that it was just the Islamists against foreign powers like the Russians or the United States. But then it comes, I find out that within Islam there is a fight, there is infighting, which is the Shia versus the Sunni. So there's like a long history that goes back to the Dark Ages. And the Dark Ages, I also investigated the Dark Ages, like what was that period, after the fall of the Roman Empire in 476 up until like the discovery of America and the Enlightenment around 1500. What was that period about, right? And there's a lot of interesting history there, right? Like, especially because they say don't focus on Europe. I was reading this thing where they say modern man is now the common European man, or at least that's the archetype. Like, everybody tries to be like that common European man, right? Where in reality, in spiritual terms, we're really a paleolithical child, right? We really don't know. All right, well, that's getting off topic. Carl Jung said that. But what's interesting about the Shia and the Sunni conflict is that is the reason why they are like that. So if we go back to when that religion started, Islam, I believe the first Islamist leader was the Prophet Muhammad. So the Prophet Muhammad is the first. It's kind of like Jesus in Christianity, or it's like Buddha in Buddhism, right? So the Prophet Muhammad is the lead figure in Islamic religion, right? So then what ends up happening is that after he dies, like every great leader, right? And I say that sarcastically, like Porfirio Diaz, or who was another leader also that they end up. I think that happened with Stalin. No, it didn't happen with Stalin. But anyway, there's a leader in power, and the leader stops being a leader because they die or whatever, and they don't really have another successor, right? Somebody to take the leadership. So what ends up happening is infighting, right? So he dies, and there are some people that believe that the leader should be blood related, right? Like it should be someone in the family, which was kind of mind-boggling for me, because the person that they chose to carry out the leadership is actually someone that is the son-in-law, I believe, of some person in the family. So it's not that person is related by family, but not even by blood. I don't know. I may be mistaken with that. Or, the other option would be to elect democratically. They would elect the new leader, right? So this is where the infighting starts, basically. And from a long time ago, from basically thousands of years ago, like 1,000, 2,000 years ago, excuse me, this infighting starts, right? All because of the successorship or the succession of the leadership. So Prophet Muhammad was the leader. He dies, and then they start fighting, about who should be the next leader. So I believe the people that wanted the bloodline, I don't remember if they're the Shia or the Sunni, and then the other ones, that they want the leader to be elected democratically, um, they start fighting, right? And that's been going on for years, right? In different ways, in proxy wars, all over the Middle East. And it's kind of interesting because the Shia aren't that many. They're actually like concentrated in like a circle around all the territory, where the majority are Sunni. I think Sunni are like 80 or 90% of the Islamists, and like 5 or 10% are Shia. Like Iran is full of Shia religious. So this got me thinking about authority, like how important, because you got to understand that this completely changes the religion for both of these groups, right? Like the basic religion structure for the Shia and the Sunni is the same, but just because of that one difference, because of who follows after the secession, the successive leadership, just because of that reason, you get all types of different legal, social rules, right? Like, and we gotta remember that Islam is a religion that is not only a religion; it affects the culture, it affects the legal system, it basically affects all walks of life for Islamists, right? So what's interesting is that, like, how you view authority is going to basically influence the way you are, your personality. Well, in this case, it influences a group. But just think about yourself. When I tell you, authority, what do you think of? Like in my case, I automatically would think of like the police, like my boss, my parents, right? Like who is the authority in your life, and then how does that authority influence you, right? Like for example, if I talk about the police, and you're kind of like, well, man, like fuck the police, right? That's gonna influence how you behave, right? Just in general. So are you a person that doesn't really get swept away by the authority figures, right? Are you a person that's more rebellious to authority figures, and you're kind of like, fuck you, you're not gonna tell me what to do? Or are you a person that is more obedient, and just think about what you perceive as authority, right? Like some people may say, authority aren't the police, authority isn't, like there's this interesting idea, right? Because I was thinking more and more about this, and I said, okay, let's say you don't have any authority, but you do have, as they say, the fear of God, or you do believe in God, and you say, my only authority is God, right? Only God can judge me. Okay. Now, if someone were to say, let's say God were to appear in front of you, and he's like, hey, I'm here and I want you to do that. Would you do it without questioning? And then I went as far as to say, well, what if God appeared, right? Like this amazing cloud and this omnipresent being, right, appeared in front of you, and you were like, astonished, and you were like, wow, that's incredible. I'll do what you say because I see that you're clearly God. And then you have another case, right? Like let's say, okay, that's one example, but let's go to another example. What if you were somewhere, right? And then some guy came up to you and was like, I'm God and I need you to do this. Would you do it? Right? So that you probably wouldn't do it, because why? Because you wouldn't believe that that was really God, right? What would you need then? You would need evidence, right? Like, show me. I need to know you're God, right? So then we would be able to say, then God isn't really your ultimate authority. What is it for the modern European man? Evidence, right? I need to see evidence that you're God. Or if someone or something appears in front of me and says, I'm God, I need to see a spectacle, right? I'm not going to believe you if you just show up and say, I'm God, do this, right? I need proof. So then it's not really that God is your ultimate authority. It's that evidence is your ultimate authority, right? So you need evidence in order to to believe something, right? Because in order to do something that authority tells you, because what is authority? Authority ultimately is that which can tell you what to do, that which can order you, right? So we have a lot of different examples of authority, like, the rules, the laws, the traffic lights. Those are authorities, and you have to listen to them, right? But just how do you listen to them, right? Like in Mexico, for example, authority, if you can skip over some things, you people will do that, right? Like, let's just take traffic as an example. You're swerving, you're jumping from lane to lane, you're not really following the rules, the traffic laws. So it's not really that big of an authority, you can say, in some cases. In other cases, sure, it's very important, but there is variety in what we allow to perceive as authority, right? And I think that's kind of interesting. So yeah, that's all I got for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.